Hey guys, what are you up to? My name is Lawyer Up, and today I'm flying out the Bell P-39N-0 Airacobra. It's a fast energy fighter at 3.0, and by fast I mean it can go up to over 800 kph without gripping. In order to make this thing really work, you need to get a good position and you need to see all your targets. As you can see in this starting clip, I make a mistake because I dove down way too early in the clouds. I couldn't see anyone. I dove down, couldn't get my target, but now I am a target, and it's kind of hard to get out of that one, because as I need to do evasive maneuvers, I become slower, and most of your energy really comes from diving and keeping that speed, and not really from your engine. The aircraft is pretty light, and the engine is pretty strong in comparison. It produces about 1300 something horsepower up to 3.5 k's of altitude. Above that, you'll really notice a drop in performance, so it's best to stay relatively low. Not that you cannot function on the higher altitude, in fact you can do pretty well, although you really need to keep in mind that speed comes from good energy conservative maneuvers and not from your engine. If you get closer to the deck, you can expect to get more power from your engine, and you'll be a really fast boy no matter what. The armament on this aircraft consists of 4 303s, 2 50 cals, and a 37mm. Here you see me and a friend of mine attacking the Spitfire. The Spitfire is, of course, a great aircraft, but speed-wise it can't hold up to the P-39, especially if there's two of them. You can just try to make type of maneuvers where the Spitfire will have to do where it is really good, which is turning, and you can just keep speed by going up. You can do a lot of high yo-yos, dives, and generally everything where you either go fast or really keep a lot of energy. Make sure that I stay above him, and if he would go for my friendly, which he does now, I can just blow him out of the sky. Unfortunately, I sometimes have some potato aim in this thing, but it does work. Personally, I really like the flight style that this aircraft has, because you can get to really high speeds, and so you can get in and out of harm's way really quick, but if you get a bit slower, you can still do better your flight maneuverable, which makes it so much easier to do a loop, and if something is trying to evade you, you can just go a bit to the left, go a bit to the right, and you get right behind them. So there's no rudder issues or anything that would keep you from pointing your gun on target, which is, for instance, why I have some trouble flying the P-51, as flight style is quite comparable, I think, except for the rudder, which for me makes it a bit frustrating to play. On this particular clip, you'll see me do a bit of a dangerous maneuver. I'll just pitch up, try to get a lot of speed, but keep in mind that we've checked that this is the last guy on their team, so even if we screw up slightly, we'll probably still win the game, and luckily we do not screw up at all. Here you can see an example of how well the vertical energy retention in this thing is. I was going slightly over 500 in that shallow dive when I wanted to gain speed, and now that I've gotten it, I can just stay behind him, and we almost crash into each other as a team. It's a nice little furball. Everyone's trying to get a shot. I get lucky. Here you see an example of well, like a high-speed turn. Not really a turn, it's more of a roll, which it does quite well even at high speeds. That's very nice, because if something tries to turn away from you, you can still roll into it and get guns on targets to maybe do a little damage and then damage them more later. It's very important in this thing that you do break off a maneuver if the attack doesn't work, so you can just reset later. So for instance, a high yo-yo like this, he flat turns, I go up, he'll go slower for it, but I'll keep energy, so I'll stay faster than him, and at some point one of us would have to be so slow that the other would fall out of the sky, which of course is not going to be me in this case. There's a fire on the 0, so I don't expect him to live. This C202 was having a bit of fun. He told me, well, come say hello, P-39. And I was like, yeah, I'll just take my time, and I'll say hello afterwards, really, I will. I'll be polite. So I'm trying to lure him into a full sense of security by going into a shallow dive, making it look like I get closer to him, but I actually don't. And I see if he's falling for it. Well, he is pitching up. And here you can't actually see it, but my friend JJ is turning in. And he's going to bait the C202 up. So that's some masturbating there. Boom. And of course the promised hello, hi. I love this kind of banter in War Thunder. Just to the point where you can make fun of each other and it's not toxic. So here we have another part of Cloud Thunder, and I get something in my visuals that I want to take a shot at. It's looks like a Focke-Wulf. And I try to use my flaps and rudder a little to get behind him. And you can also see how snappy this thing can react at high speeds in a short time. Because here I see the bullets fly. I could not have seen that BF-109. I almost make the same mistake as in the first clip, but this time my response is quicker and also a bit better because I dive away in order to be able to reset this maneuver now. The BF-109F4 does compress quite badly after about 700 kph, and it would, at above 750-ish, I believe, he'll get into ripping speeds. So if I just go that fast and I extend, then there's be the situation that my energy retention will actually keep me going faster for a lot longer than his energy, and I will outrun him. As you see, I have reset the position, and now there's 3 versus 3 going on. And there goes the F4 that was attacking me. I pull up, and the other ones died as well, so now we're kind of just going at it with this last guy. It's not a lot of specific things to see here, you just see how this aircraft can use speed advantages to stay behind someone, which sounds a bit counterintuitive, but if he accelerates, I can out-accelerate him. If he stops, I can just pull up and use that speed. So I have all the options and kind of waiting for him to fight me. And as per usual, I get to do this. Now here's a nice neat bit of that energy fighting that I was referring to at the beginning. You can go really fast, attack him, and when I pull up, because I don't want to get into like normal dogfight with the Kai-43, then at the different speed ranges, this thing can do different things really well. So at lower speeds, it can turn quite well. It can do these corkscrews and helixes, and at higher speeds, it doesn't need to. So now I actually do 2 helixes because I realized that one isn't enough. In another aircraft, I probably couldn't have pulled that off. I think that also has to do with the fact that the engine is located in the middle of the aircraft as opposed to in the nose. The nose is really for the armament. It's a bit the same idea as the A-10 Warthog. It's not in the game yet, at least. But it's basically a gun, and then they build an aircraft around it, as opposed to they build an aircraft and they try to stick guns in it. And don't do head-on skids. It's a bit like drugs, don't do it. So I'm heavily outnumbered here, and this match it can be shown that with the P-39 you can, well, you could carry. Because you can have a good position, you can keep your speed, you have good visuals on this map. I mean, there's no clouds obstructing views, and then there's a fourth thing that we haven't touched on is don't get cocky. If you get cocky in this thing and you think you're safe, well, you better think again. You should never really save, and even if you've spotted all the targets that you can, there's always this thing called the fog of war, where you could just forget that something is around. Someone could have hidden their position really well, flying in a altitude where the game doesn't really spot you. That was a nice example of just using the secondary armament. It can be useful, even though it does impair the flight performance a little, because it is just added weight in the wings, which you don't have on the Russian P-39N. But of course the benefits of having that extra armament is that you can just spray at someone a little if you to take the risk of a long-range shot but don't want to lose all your ammo. I actually want to extend my compliments to this VG-33. I had a lot of problems getting him down, and in fact I think he holds out the longest of all his friends here. The playstyle of both the P-39 and the VG-33 require patience, which is why I sped up some of the footage so you can see how I try to reset each run without having a video that lasts for an hour. Because let's face it, that would be boring. You don't want to hear me talking that long. Neither do I want to talk that long. So here we do a loop. I want to do a full loop this time because I suspect that there's someone else in the neighborhood. As it appears at this moment, there's nobody close by. It's a bit unfortunate that my friend has so little energy, which means that even if he does everything right, the enemies have more energy than him, so they could dictate the terms of all the engagements that they have, but they cannot dictate the terms of the engagement that I have with them, because I'm above them, I'm speedier than them. And, well, I just have the position, the speed. I see them. So even if I suddenly spot a new plane, I'm not that much in trouble. I realize you can only do one attack run here because there's another I-180S behind me. Nice hit. I didn't expect that he could hit me. So it's again that VG-33 that could prove to be the bane of my existence. But he isn't. I get lucky. So I pull him up again. I can keep dictating the terms of the engagement, but he plays his position really well. Constantly tries to wriggle himself out of the predicament that he is in. Which, even if he doesn't kill me, makes me a lot weaker because I have to pay so much attention to him. It's a bit unfortunate that War Thunder can't give points for that, because even if he even if someone else would just swoop in and kill me now, which that Firefly can do, because he just popped into the sides of our vision, he would get such a great shot because the VG is giving me such a hard time. But that's on a side note. So I know where the Firefly is coming from. I present him with a small target, and it works. And then I get extremely lucky because he just decides to rip. Bang. There he goes. One less to worry about. And I actually want to get the VG out of the way, but the I-160 presents himself. So I'll take it. I mean, it is one less enemy, so it gives me more free space to fight the VG. And I extend again. And I reset. Which is what you're supposed to do in a boom and zoom aircraft. And we finally get the drop on him now. My energy is not super high. It's pretty high, but it's not super high. But I know that his energy is low. He couldn't pitch up if he wanted to there right at the end. So I get a hit. I can loop over because almost the top of his loop is almost the bottom of my loop. So I have all the energy in the world, and I need to be quick because there's another Spitfire coming in with a lot of energy. And I could outrun the Spitfire, but in my current predicament I couldn't really do anything else. And I luckily got the drop on the VG, and I land to rearm and refuel. Here's the part about getting cocky. I want to show you my mistakes. So I'm not perfect by any standards. So do leave your comments below. Tell me what you think about the gameplay, what you think about the videos, and let's get better together. See you around.